Hello and welcome back to Reason News. Today we're covering the devastating developments in Gaza, where Israeli airstrikes have resulted in the deaths of at least 330 Palestinians, according to Gaza's Ministry of Health. This escalation marks a significant breakdown in the fragile ceasefire that had been in place since January 2025. A ceasefire between Israel and Hamas had been holding since 19th of January, following months of intense conflict. However, negotiations to extend this truce stalled, with both sides unable to agree on key issues like the release of Israeli hostages held by Hamas. These tensions culminated in Israel's decision to launch extensive airstrikes across Gaza on March 18th. The Israeli military targeted dozens of locations across Gaza, including Gaza City, Deir al-Balah, Khan Yunis, and Rafah. The strikes began at approximately 2:20 a.m. and were described as the most intense since the ceasefire began.
The ceasefire between Israel and Hamas is officially over, as Israel launches new strikes on the Gaza Strip. The Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office released a statement confirming this, saying, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Defense Minister Israel Katz have instructed the IDF to act forcibly against the terrorist organization Hamas in the Gaza Strip. This decision comes after Hamas repeatedly refused to release our hostages and rejected all proposals presented by the US President's envoy, Steve Witkoff, and other mediators. At this moment, the IDF is striking Hamas targets across the Gaza Strip to achieve the war's objectives as set out by the political leadership, including the release of all of our hostages, both the living and the fallen. From this point forward, Israel will escalate its military operations against Hamas with increasing intensity. The operational plan was presented by the IDF last weekend and has been approved by the political leadership. The resurgence of the war comes after Donald Trump made it very clear that there is a tremendous hatred of the West by Islam.
Do you think Islam is at war with the West?
I think Islam hates us. There's something there that there's a tremendous hatred there. There's a tremendous hatred. We have to get to the bottom of it. There is an unbelievable hatred of us.
In Islam itself?
You're going to have to figure that out. Okay, you'll get another Pulitzer, right? But you're going to have to figure that out. But there is a tremendous hatred, and we have to be very vigilant. We have to be very careful, and we can't allow people coming into this country who have this hatred of the United States.
I guess the question is,
and of people that are not Muslim.
I guess the question is there a war between the West and radical Islam, or is there a war between the West and Islam itself?
It's radical, but it's very hard to define. It's very hard to...
Hospitals in Gaza are overwhelmed with reports of patients being treated on the floor due to a lack of beds. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu justified the strikes by citing Hamas's refusal to release Israeli hostages or agree to extend the ceasefire. Netanyahu vowed that Israel would use increasing military strength against Hamas. The Israeli military stated that it was targeting terror targets associated with Hamas, aiming to dismantle its military capabilities. Hamas condemned the airstrikes as a deceitful attack on civilians, accusing Israel of intentionally undermining the ceasefire. The group warned that these actions would lead to further escalation. Palestinian Islamic Jihad also criticized Israel, alleging that the strikes were part of a broader strategy to destabilize Gaza. The White House confirmed it was consulted before the strikes and expressed support for Israel's actions, citing Hamas's refusal to release hostages. However, many countries have called for restraint and a return to negotiations. The UN has urged both sides to respect the ceasefire and engage in meaningful dialogue to prevent further humanitarian suffering. The ongoing conflict has exacerbated Gaza's humanitarian crisis, with severe shortages of food, water, and medical supplies. The blockade on aid deliveries has worsened conditions, leaving thousands without access to basic necessities. As tensions escalate, there are fears of a full-scale ground invasion, which could lead to catastrophic consequences for civilians and further destabilize the region. The recent airstrikes on Gaza have shattered the fragile peace and raised concerns about a return to full-scale conflict. The humanitarian toll is devastating, with hundreds killed and thousands injured. It is crucial for international leaders to push for a return to negotiations and a lasting resolution to this crisis. What are your thoughts on this escalating situation? Share your views in the comments below, but don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more updates. Until next time, stay informed, curious, and stay updated.